an estimated $220 billion.
23 million jobs will depend on virtual reality.
Even over 170 colleges have begun giving scholarships for the esports industry.
Video games really help connect me and my friends. We get to play online together, and
it could help connect people. Like, no matter where you are, you could play a video game with someone, or it can cause you to like separate from people by like playing alone or not being with others.
I feel like that playing video games and talking to people over like consoles and like the internet is very different than interaction in real life, because over the internet, like, you can't see them, people can't like physically interact with you.
Some video games can be aggressive, so that can make the person tend to be more aggressive in their real life relationships.
It could lead to more hostile interventions in real life, and it could cause some harsh relationship things.
I know this is not your typical "what is that" segment, but I know a lot of things, and my knowledge could be limited to the constraints of the morning announcements. But today, I'll be telling you guys all about video games. From the humble beginnings of Pong and Space Invaders to the breathtaking realism of today's virtual worlds, video games have journeyed far and wide. Along the way, they've become more than mere entertainment. They're a cultural phenomenon, shaping our language, art, and even our social interactions. But it's not just about pixels and polygons, it's about the connections we forge and the stories we share. Video games have the power to bring people together, whether it's through cooperative gameplay or heated competitions. They've also become a platform for self-expression, allowing players to create and share their own worlds with the click of a button. Yet, with great power comes great responsibility. As gaming has grown, so too have discussions about its impact on society, from concerns about addiction to debates over representation and inclusivity. It's a complex landscape, but one thing is clear: video games are here to stay, and their influence will continue to shape our world for years to come. So, whether you're a seasoned gamer or just dipping your toes into the digital waters, welcome to the world of video games, where anything is possible and the adventure never ends. Now you know, and let's move on to the next level.
From Pong to Fortnite, video games have changed and seem to be constantly innovating. But where this popularized culture and technology started, it's something that can be traced back to the 1950s.
And that's where the earliest pieces of video gaming, the earliest parts of video gaming come from, is all this technology that was being used basically in the Cold War to defend the country or be prepared for any sort of, nuclear or atomic destruction at that time.
Who would have known that this technology would become monumental when applied to video games?
So the first coin-operated video game is going to be Computer Space. Fast forward a year, the next one, which is what blows the scene up, is Pong. That's what everybody plays. That puts video gaming, video arcade gaming on the map. You've got Space Invaders after that, Asteroids after that, and then of course everything blows up again and becomes kind of like this mass hysteria, but becomes a permanent part of our pop culture with Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man.
The Arcade Age exhibit at the Cradle of Aviation Museum lets people experience these video games.
So we came because some friends recommended it and said it was really fun for the nostalgia for adults and for kids to get to see like the evolution of video games, so that's why we came.
Especially through the exhibit, the evolution of video games can be seen comparing what we see there to the games we play today.
For instance, video gaming now is so hyper-realistic. It's so real. It feels so real. Some of the more modern games, you do feel like you're in a different world. You can get sucked into a different world. I feel like with the older games, you're playing for entertainment value. The entertainment value is there, but you're not as transported to a different place or a different time as you are with a modern game.
The invention of smaller and better silicon graphics and stronger processors, and RAM got cheaper. Back in the day, you had old computer system or an old Pong system, it could only hold like, what, 2K, 4K of graphics. Now it's like gigabytes where you have things running off of CD-ROMs and hard drives. So it's almost like cheating, it's unfair. But technology just boosted it ahead. So the invention of the transistor and getting everything smaller made a big difference.
Being able to play these video games is very exciting for many, and it is even more enjoyable because they have the opportunity to play them with their family.
It's fun for me. So today here, I feel like super nostalgic and emotional, and so it's fun to see the kids, to show them games that I loved, Tetris and a few others, Pac-Man, Frogger. And they draw parallels to some games that they know that I think have like evolved from those games, but are much more complex.
For BMB, I'm Brianna Goodman.
What's up, y'all?
What up, boys?
Yo, how we doing?
You guys trying to run some Fortnite?
Yeah, I'm down.
A few moments later.
Damn, my back is killing me right now.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna need a chiropractor after this.
Yeah, I wonder if playing Fortnite on that is impacting us in any way.
The world of video games is a violent one. Left and right, 7 out of 10 of the best-selling video games of 2023 contain some form of violence. Whether it be committing crimes in GTA, to the crazy shootouts of Fortnite, it seems that today's generation is hooked on violent video games. But do video games really cause violence outside of the screen? On one hand, some studies show that they do. According to a study held by the American Psychology Association, people who played more video games such as fighting games had more aggression tendencies than those who played video games that did not contain violent themes. However, some experts attribute this behavior to the gamer simply being riled up in the moment, similar to how watching a sad movie would make the viewer sad, but not clinically depressed. In a study conducted by the US Secret Service, only 12% of 41 school attackers who were interviewed showed interest in violent video games. In comparison, 27% had an interest in violent movies, 24% in violent books, and 37% in their own violent writings. However, other health concerns have been discussed on the topic of playing video games.
I play video games around 3 days a week for about an hour and a half each day, and sometimes I notice I get more aggressive and nervous when I'm in an intense game.
Video games can affect all different aspects of your health as you play. Certain games can produce many different emotions when playing and create different mood swings. Mayo Clinic Health System Organization did a study saying that while playing a video game, the person's brain processes the scenario as if it was real. If the game depicts a dangerous or violent situation, the gamer's body reacts accordingly. This fight-or-flight response to that perceived danger is triggered by exposure to intense stimulation and violence in the game.
When playing some games with my friends especially, I get a rush of adrenaline because we have a strong desire to win the game.
Excessive video game use can lead to the brain being revved up in a constant state of hyperarousal, showing how it can tire out your brain by overstimulating it.
Sometimes after playing video games, I have to calm myself down a little, so I'm not hyped up as much while I was playing the game.
With the long amount of time spent sitting down and playing these video games can also come health issues, including carpal tunnel and others.
You're in a seated position for a long period of time, you're working down at a laptop or a computer, or you do a lot of reading for a job, same idea, could be prone to cervical disc herniation, reduced range of motion, and again, cervical or radiculitis, which just means an inflammation of the nerve roots that exit between each of the vertebrae.
According to the Better Health channel, sitting for long periods of time can also cause problems with your back, especially if you consistently sit with poor posture or don't use an ergonomically designed chair or workstation.
I play once a day for about 2 to 3 hours each day. I was recently diagnosed with scoliosis, which causes me to be very uncomfortable for a long period of time when I'm sitting in my chair.
As a result, it leads to long-term, things like, again, depression, anxiety, also not being able to do your job, things like that. So there is an emotional component to a lot of these syndromes long-term.
Poor posture may also cause poor spine health, such as compression in the discs in your spine, leading to premature degeneration, which can be very painful. This shows how video games can have a negative effect on health in general, especially if you're sitting down for a long period of time or overstimulating your brain with many different video games.
So in my personal life, video games really help connect me and my friends. We get to play online together, and when we get together in person, we can talk and bond over the games we like to play.
I feel like sometimes people can get consumed by video games and not really pay attention to the things around them.
Well, in real life, you can get to know someone more in video games. Like, you can play with more people, but like you can also meet creeps on the app, and like it also takes away from like playing, like having like actual conversations with people, like face to face.
Got a quad right there.
In a world driven by technology, video games have become more than just a form of entertainment. They've become a powerful tool for connecting people in a positive way.
Yep. Got him. So being a twin, we used to live together closely. We would play online games closer together, maybe in separate rooms, whatever the case may be. But now in recent events, I actually moved away. So now looking forward to playing online games actually brought us closer together.
Jackson and William Kale are twins, and video games has had a huge impact on their relationship.
Good stuff. It connects us in a way where we, after a long day of work, we're able to connect, get away from the real world, and we're able to, jump in the game, connect. We can talk. We see each other's, avatar in the game. So that'd be a good way to have it.
Video games and other online spaces are safe for individuals because they allow people to communicate when they want to, with little or no pressure to respond immediately, and without requiring them to be in the same physical space.
Got 3. Looking forward to gaming is fun, so it does a lot of, we bond over it. We do talk about like different things, like different tactics while playing Call of Duty. We, finding different ways to play. And things like that probably just end up making the bond stronger.
According to the Pew Research Center, more than half of online users have made new friends through video games. In early days, gamers were restricted to local multiplayer experiences, gathering with friends around a console or computer. However, with the advent of online gaming, the opportunities to connect with gamers worldwide have become boundless. According to recent studies, nearly 70% of gamers participate in multiplayer gaming, engaging in social interactions with friends, strangers, and even celebrities. Maria Saracini is a school psychologist who has her intake on video games and how they may affect kids.
Well, I think there's a certain level of socialization that's happening with video games and talking to other kids from other places. There's nothing like having in-person relationships and social contact.
Despite these negatives, the twins use video games to further their relationship and get to where they are today.
It was always, we have that twin bond, so it was different, than regular brothers and sisters. That's one of our fondest memories. I would say, growing up, that's like one of the first things if I can really try to remember going all the way back. I remember one of our fondest memories is playing video games together.
Reporting for BMB, I'm Sophia Valadares.
Yeah, this kid is he's about to box me. Jake, where you at?
Dude, Fortnite has some of the craziest graphics. Like, it looks so good.
Dude, we just died because we were looking at the sunset for 10 minutes.
Yeah, Jake, I got boxed because of you.
Pac-Man has been a classic game throughout video game history. Its music, sound effects, and graphics are iconic, giving a sense of nostalgia to all who hear it. But this doesn't only happen with Pac-Man, but with all games from this time period.
When I was really little, I remember playing Duck Hunt, and it was like this little, you can kind of call it a duck. It was a bunch of little pixels flapping around the screen, and you would have like a little gun that, you tried to shoot the little ducks. Or
The nostalgia that comes with these video games brings back old memories to life. Ian Samaru has been playing video games since he was a kid, and as an adult, reflects on what they mean to him.
Playing those games from when I was growing up, they're remind me of like a timepiece. So it's playing the games at that time in a specific in that specific era. You get to it encapsulates that moment. So it takes you back to that nostalgia.
But video games are so much more than just memories, but also forms of art. And as time continued, video games have evolved as well. Lisa Kalish is an art teacher who explains how art from the past influences art today.
We've also been able to take what we have learned from all of the artists that have come before us, and while back years ago artists were doing things for the first time, now we're doing it for the millionth time, and then putting our own spin on it and incorporating the various mediums together. So you can see the gradual change over time, and then you can also see the big picture change when you look at what qualifies as art now versus art from eons ago.
Video game art from the past has shaped many new games today. Games like Street Fighter had to come before the iconic game Call of Duty. Jay Stiles is an employee at the Video Game Trading Post in Levittown and shares how video game art today compares to that of the past.
Yeah, definitely. I think back then it was a lot more primitive. They had less to work with, but they still made it work, and now we have all this new technology that's allowing all these games to look like movies, basically, is kind of the comparison I draw sometimes. But it's definitely come a very, very long way, I would say, from the old school days in the 80s, 90s.
Art is timeless and continues to bring people together. Through the evolution of many of our favorite characters like Pac-Man and Mario, it shows us how far we've come and how far we're going. For BMB, I'm Ariel Butchon.
I play Angry Birds. That's it though. I really like Angry Birds. I play Wordle, Connections, the block puzzle game. They just keep me busy if I'm bored.
I don't even know. Anything I can find, Water Sword, or Candy Crush, stuff like that.
I don't have any games on my phone currently, but when I did, I used to play a lot of Subway Surfers and Candy Crush.
It's really fun.
It would just take my mind off of things, kind of like TikTok.
I play the New York Times games, the Wordle and all that, and I also play Monopoly Go. And with those games, there's time consuming. So whenever I have nothing to do, I feel I can just relax and spend time. So if I'm waiting to do something.
We put a man on the moon without mobile gaming devices.
In 2024, approximately 97% of high school students use their phone throughout the day. Just one of the amazing statistics that does not have the faculty here at MEPM quite surprised.
I find it extremely rude and disrespectful for when students feel the need to take out their phone and go on a video game while I'm teaching.
Academically it is a problem because there's this distraction piece, and there's so much content that you guys and everybody in the school who's a student knows goes on in the classroom, and when you can't concentrate because you're tired, it becomes a real negative factor.
With technology advancing every day, that number will only rise, and one thing that will rise with it is video games, specifically mobile games.
Starting as a teacher in the year 2000, between classes, the students would all talk to each other, and before the class would start, when students came in the room, they would sit down and they would speak to each other, and they might be talking about previous classes or their plans later on that day, or events or games that had taken place the day before. And now it's quite unsettling, because when that bell rings, students are always silently on their phone staring at their device.
Mobile games have a profound grasp on teenage minds, both inside and outside of school. The argument whether or not it's more beneficial for children is the real question.
Kids can recall things sometimes because they're learning to play games and have to remember something, so it can help with some kind of memory and visual ability to recognize things and store it, so that has a cognitive positivity to it.
I don't think that there's really any benefit to any form of gaming. Now, in my particular class. However, do I think that perhaps the coding students and learning how to code? Sure. Then I think that there is benefits there.
Being in an alternate universe is a little bit weird and can disrupt social life for students, because they're living in a world that they've been looking at for a long amount of time, that being present in their own life can be difficult.
So I think, unfortunately, the only way to really, for a teacher to honestly minimize it is to use the pockets I know a lot of teachers have started to go towards that. That might be something that I might be interested in the future. I just think sometimes when you're teaching an upper level class, juniors, seniors, and it's an AP class, that students should actually learn how to self-monitor.
I constantly remind my own children how detrimental it is and how it isolates them, and they should try to avoid it at all costs. But the reality is that this is how kids entertain themselves and interact with each other.
Yo, Chiffo, where you at? We're back into a game.
Yeah, we're almost in a game. Where are you?
Sorry guys, I'm clocked into my 9 to 5 right now. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get into the game today. Okay, sir, that'll be $14.99.
What's wrong with this kid?
Why does everything look so real? It's like I'm actually here. How does this even work?
Although this might look and sound crazy, this reaction is not at all far-fetched.
In fact, this may have more of an effect on everyday life than you might think.
I mean, it seems like VR, like VR chat especially, can help you get out of that. Can help you get into more social gatherings and all that, because you're talking to other people in VR. Because they're real life people, just in a virtual world. So it would basically help you gain social skills to actually give you the courage in real life to talk to actual people.
After all, technology is evolving day after day. So much so that we were able to find our interview with Just a Detective all inside of this digital social gathering. Surprisingly, that's not all. Technology has created a virtual world around us, but how many people has this augmented world impacted?
The idea of virtual reality is making its way into households around the world. That is, over 171 million to be exact.
This number is growing drastically and is likely to influence the world around you beyond imagination.
For starters, 23 million jobs will depend on virtual reality in careers like gaming, health, schooling, you name it.
I mean, for sure, there's a lot of, especially like actual government facilities use VR to train a lot of their people to like in real life situations that could happen. Like there's this one thing that's been going on with like, I'm pretty sure a police station where they've been using VR headsets in like an augmented reality area to basically put you in certain situations that could happen in real life. So like if it does happen, it can get you basically all ready for that and you know what to do.
The realism of this technology is used for young athletes to learn skills as well as techniques for their desired sport from the comfort of their own home.
Well, one of the big things that I mentioned before was reaction time, definitely. Because say you have a ball coming towards you, you definitely need good reaction time to like swing or hit it with a bat or a net. Reaction time is the main thing, to be honest. Especially when it comes to sport, you need huge reaction time to also keep your composure, but that's easy to do without VR.
This technology is only going to go stronger and more powerful, which means we have to be aware of what is to come.
You know what they say. The value of an idea lies in those who use it. So use this tool wisely, safely, and to the fullest. For BMB, I'm Jake Mano.
And I'm Matt Nadoff.
Reporting.
Maybe they shouldn't because it's not like physically demanding.
They shouldn't because they're not actually doing anything, in my opinion.
I don't think that they should get scholarships because it's not physically playing the sport and therefore anybody can learn how to do it online.
Ever since video games first came out, it was every kid's dream of being a professional video gamer in their future. The competitors in esports today brought their dreams to reality. Children around the world are now able to make a career out of professional gaming and fulfill their dreams of playing video games. Not only can you make a career out of this, but even over 170 colleges have begun giving scholarships for the esports industry.
Colleges are recruiting kids that are good and giving them scholarships, which is insane to even imagine. Like, we used to joke when I was in school, like, dude, imagine getting paid to go to college to play video games. I'm like, that's reality now.
In the dynamic world of esports, what began as a hobby has evolved into a global sensation. with players competing at the highest levels and earning recognition like traditional athletes.
Video games kind of started out as a hobby and moved more to a complete career path, because with said esports arenas, it opens up a job field of many other things that you can do to support the esports field.
Esports has undergone a remarkable evolution, transforming into a professional sport embraced by millions worldwide. From packed arenas to online streams with millions of viewers, esports events have become a cultural phenomenon, uniting fans in celebration of skill, strategy, and the competitive spirit.
It's considered a sport because it's competition. There's people that are really, really good at esports, and they compete on very high levels, which come in heavy sponsors, at least for Counter-Strike, like huge arenas all over the world.
Esports athletes now train rigorously, dedicating countless hours to perfecting their craft. Teams are formed, coaches are hired, and sponsorships are created. These teams formed names for their organizations. Many organizations, from Team Liquid to 100 Thieves to Team Vitality, are all formed worldwide.
When people think video games, they think, oh, it's easy, whatever. But like, I spend hours a day practicing with my team in the esports arena that we have on campus. Like we do VOD, like we watch videos of other teams. It's not only playing the game. There's a lot more aspects to it than you would think.
Esports has not only revolutionized the gaming landscape, but has also redefined what it means to be a professional athlete. With scholarships paving the way for the next generation of talent, the future of esports shines brighter than ever, promising endless excitement and innovation for years to come.
That guy's real. This guy's AI shooting him.
Yo, who is that in the mic?
I don't know. It's me.
What'd you guys say?
Kyle, are you watching Ninja right now?
Who just jumped out after this guy?
Maybe.
The gaming industry is a larger field than many would think. Worth an estimated $220 billion, there are tons of careers available in the video game industry. While esports provides a promising career for many, not everyone has the skill set to make it to the big leagues of gaming. Another career that appeals to more charisma-based people is content creation, the job of creating a piece of content, videos, streams, etc. for people to consume. There are YouTubers that air pre-edited videos to the masses. There are live streamers who play games to audiences the size of football stadiums, all from the comfort of their own houses. Top content creators pull in millions each year. They take sponsorships from huge companies, just like how commercials run on TV. Creators like Mr. Beast pull in just as many impressions as the Super Bowl per the average video. This may seem promising. However, it's very challenging for the average person to make it big as a content creator. It takes hours of hard work a day, and it takes more than just playing video games. Content creators must build a community, incentivizing viewers to come back for more. For the more tech-savvy, there's the path of game development. These people create worlds with only a desk, a computer, and caffeine. Development also includes creating music, visual style, and sound design for games, and more. Game development is a challenging field that takes years of learning and dedication. However, there are more accessible routes for high school students. Platforms like Scratch and Roblox are a great starting point for young developers to enter the field. Roblox provides developers with millions of pre-made assets and scripts to incorporate into their games. And if these games become successful, they generate Robux, which is an in-platform currency. Robux can be transferred to real money. Top Roblox creators earn tens of millions of dollars in a year. While this is certainly an excellent way to make real money from your development skills, it doesn't come without its limitations. Firstly, it's hard to make a successful game, one that makes money, with nearly 10 million developers on the platform. It's an extremely competitive space to grab and keep players' retention. Young developers often cannot get their games to become popular because the market is so saturated, and even if they do, they often do not turn a profit. Overall, the gaming industry is expanding rapidly. With hundreds of billions, new jobs and opportunities are popping up left and right. It's just up to the people involved in the industry to manage it correctly.
I think people are going to play more virtual reality games and just more like advanced versions of the games we play now on our phones, and more like they're actually in it.
I think people will continue using their phones just because it's very easy and accessible, and probably a lot of the same games that we see today because they've continued for so long.
Probably, I would think the same kind of main consoles like PlayStation, Xbox, more upgraded versions of them, but probably like the same consoles and stuff like that.
But I think virtual reality will become very big in our society, and it will probably be using those goggles that you're able to see certain things, and you're able to play games based on what you see.